Hello and welcome to your real estate journey, expert tips for buyers and sellers. I am Dolly Lopez, your real estate broker and realtor in the state of Florida and Kentucky. I hope you guys are doing well. And today, like every Thursday, I am joined by Valerie, one of my favorites, real estate lawyer. How are you, Valerie?
I'm great, Dolly. So excited to be here today with you and all your followers.
I am very excited as well because today we're going to talk about fraud. In our industry, fraud is something so common and it's very important to make people aware of it and to be on the watch out for these signs that what should you do to avoid fraud, because ultimately it can cost people a lot of money.
Yes.
So I'm very excited. So tell me, the first, as a real estate attorney, what would be the one of the first thing that you would recommend buyers
So
or sellers to look
first
for?
first and foremost, even if you're a buyer or seller, doesn't matter. Verify your realtor, right? That has to be the most important part because they're the key to your whole transaction. They're going to be the head of your team. So you want to make sure that that realtor does have their license, is valid license, practicing here in the state of Florida. And you want to make sure that your realtor knows what they're doing, right? You want to make sure that it's the right one for you. So it's so important to verify that realtor, because unfortunately here in the state of Florida, especially down south, you have a lot of people who are not licensed realtors who are trying to run transactions and make money on commissions when they shouldn't.
Yep, and I completely agree with you. Actually, on this video, I will make sure to put on the description a link so people can actually just save it and they can just press on it and verify anybody's license. If you are currently working with a person, with a realtor,
Right.
you want to make sure that they're licensed. So I'll
Right.
put the link below. So I
Because
completely agree with you, Valerie.
that's all public record. So as soon as you get a name, as soon as you're introduced to a realtor, you can actually look them up. It's in public record. You'll see their license, you see that it's valid, you'll see how long they've been practicing. So yes, it is so very important to just quickly do your research on that person to verify them.
Good, I agree. So what would be the second thing that you would suggest to do?
So the second thing I would suggest is, once you've able to find that realtor that you guys made a perfect match is, and you're purchasing, right? You want to make sure that who you're purchasing from is the true and correct owner. And this is something that a realtor is going to be able to help you with as well. It's also public knowledge. This is public record. So whatever property you find, whatever county it may be, you can go to that county's property appraiser's office, plug in the address, and make sure that the person who's selling the property is in fact the person who is the registered owner of public record as well. And that's so very important to do as well.
Yeah, because sometimes you, on the contract itself, whenever they are signing, I mean, it'll be their name in there,
Yeah.
but sometimes the person that signs, it's not the same owner. And normally a realtor will be able to pick that up. And if not, definitely a real estate attorney
Yeah.
when that happens. But you can do your research as well. So what happens? I mean, a red flag should come up whenever you're signing that contract or the offer, and you see a different name that different from what it appears in public records. So you need to make sure that that's verified, because if not, that contract is not really valid, right?
It's not valid. And if unfortunately you go through the entire transaction and you actually send money to these people, they're going to disappear the second they get that money. And the true owners are going to appear and they're going to say, "Excuse me, this is my house." And now
Yep.
we're going to have a huge issue as to ownership because the true owner didn't sell it to you. And
Yep.
it's something that will be caught, hopefully there's so many different stages of a transaction that issue could be caught in several of them. But it's always great to from the from the very beginning, to be able to know who it is you're purchasing from, making sure that person is the property owner of record, so you have no issues moving forward.
Good. And talking about this, I recently I was taking one of the classes that I normally take to prepare myself and to be on the lookout for anything and everything for my clients.
Yeah.
And there are some times that a seller can forge, and it's so important to have a title company not a title company, a title company that has real estate attorneys in them.
Right.
Because sometimes things that happen, actually, something that was brought to me, that there's these things that are called quick claim deeds,
Yes.
that when someone, a seller or a person wants to do fraud, they can forge this document. And then this person actually sells you the property like a month later, but then the true owner doesn't even know about that. So you
Right.
want to make sure a real estate attorney is looking at your documents and making sure that as a real estate agent, as a real estate professional, I might not even caught that.
Right.
But I'm pretty sure, Valerie, that will bring a red flag to her.
Yes, 100%, 100%. When we do our, our what we call the title search, when we do our title search and we see that within, the last 2 months, 3 months, or within recent time, the property has been completely transferred to a different person via quick claim deed for zero money, right? Because typically quick
Yep.
claim deeds, you're transferring it for no money. It's going to raise a red flag if the owner is not still part of it, right? So if we do a quick claim deed and we're adding people, that's okay, because then, there's just more than one owner, right? But if
Yeah.
we're doing a quick claim deed and removing one owner completely, the prior owner completely, and adding just someone completely new, it's going to raise a flag, because I'm going to say, okay, why did we do this transfer? Who are these people? Are they related? And sometimes they are related and it's fine. Sometimes it's a parent transferring over to the child and there's no issue. But sometimes it could raise a red flag and it could be a problem.
Yep. So once again, from a real estate professional, you want to make sure you always use a real estate attorney. Um, Once again, nothing against title companies, but geez, they charge about the same thing, and they're not
They're not as regulated as us
as
either.
regulated as an attorney would be.
Yeah.
So okay, so looking up the seller's name
Yes.
on the property appraisers. So that's a really good one. Thank you.
That is-
So what would be another one? The
So
third
the third one would be if you're going to be buying with a loan, right? You're going to be taking money out in order to purchase this property. It's very, very important that you understand who your mortgage person is, right? Whether it be a mortgage broker, if you're going straight with the bank, your lender, and what it is that they can and cannot charge you from the very inception. So for someone who is just getting their pre-approval letter, right? Someone very in the very beginning process of this purchasing transaction, the only thing, and it's so important to know this, the only thing that a lender or a mortgage broker can charge you at that point in time is your credit report fee. That's
Yep.
it. They're never should ask you for more money.
The credit report fee could go anywhere from like $60 to like 120. I have seen it. And sometimes if they have to do like a read score, it could go up to $200.
Right.
I have seen that myself. So a credit report fee, it's very common, and it's that they charge upfront.
Yes.
Nothing else.
Nothing.
They cannot give you anything else. In addition, now that you brought that up, whenever you do an actual application, you already found the house, you already gave the loan officer all the required information that they need, like your name, your social security number, your income.
Mhm.
Like there's a few things that they will require you to give them. Obviously, they have 3 business days to get you a loan estimate.
Yes.
So whenever you are in the process and you already given everything to the loan officer that they required, within 3 business days, you will need to get that loan estimate.
Of course.
And if you don't, we have an issue, because
Yep.
by law they're required to give you that. And then obviously after the process, after you're already on with an application started, then obviously there are going to be more fees, like an appraisal fee,
Right.
a bunch of other
A
things.
bunch of other fees are going to be after that initial transaction.
Exactly. But before, nobody should ask you for any money other than the credit report fee, which it makes sense because you're going to be pulling your credit, and there's a company that it needs to be paid
Yes.
for the credit to be given. So,
And typically, and just so everybody knows, you never, ever, ever give money directly to the lender when it comes to deposits. All right. Those deposits are never held by the lender. The lender should never be asking you for a deposit. The 20% down, that money also never goes to the lender. It always, always, always goes to the title company. So if the lender's already asking you for that, you already know, wait, give me a second, who are you?
Yep. So what would be the fourth thing that you would look for on fraud?
So fourth, and just logically speaking, in the matter of the timeline of the transaction, would be your title company, right? You need to make sure, which hopefully you choose VPP Law Firm, an attorney-owned title company. You need to verify them, and it's so important to verify them because there are so many other, title companies out there that are just waiting for you to deposit money into their account, and then they're going to disappear. And I say this because we've had it ourselves. Clients come into the office saying, I found a property, I loved it, I signed the contract, I sent my initial deposit to the title company, and I don't know where they are. They've disappeared. I went to their office, they're not there anymore. I've called them, they don't pick up the phone, they don't exist on any kind of public record. And that's such a huge problem because that's a lot of money. When you're a buyer and you are saving up your money to buy your property and you're super excited, you got your money together, it's hard worked money that you're giving to someone. So you want to make sure that that person who is holding your money, which is your title company, which would be VPP Law Firm, not only are they a real title company that's been established, but also that they should be an attorney as well. Because like I said, like I was explaining to Dolly, attorneys are heavily regulated through what we call the Florida Bar Organization. And through the Florida Bar, I have to submit monthly reports. Not only like I am required to submit monthly reports on all of our transactions. So that just goes to show you how much of a regulation I'm in, how much, requirements I want to make sure that I comply with. And by complying with it, I'm protecting, all my clients as well.
I completely agree with you. Whenever you are purchasing a property, for example, you are required to give a deposit, right? You normally give a deposit, and it could be $500 or it could be $30,000.
Right.
That deposit, it's normally given through a wire
Mm-hmm.
to your title company in Florida.
Yeah.
In Kentucky, you could do title company or the actual real estate brokerage, whomever
Yeah.
the realtor belongs to. And that's okay, but you need to make sure that wire information, if there's one number wrong, or if you send it to a company that doesn't exist, that
Mm-hmm.
money is gone. Like, that's it.
That's
You
it.
are, yep, you're signing, whenever you're saying that wire, you need to triple check the numbers, and you need to ensure that it's a legit company. And I'll
Right.
tell you one more thing. Any realtor, any law attorney, any lender, well, anyone, regardless, inside of the financial industry or outside of the financial industry, if they are in the public eye, like whenever you Google them, they're all over the place, they're most likely they're legit. Because
Mhm.
normally, whenever you're trying to do fraud, you don't come up front and make videos and explain and or
Right.
educate people. You don't.
You're not putting yourself out in the public eye.
Exactly. You just don't.
Right.
So if when you Google that person's name, now you can Google them or Facebook them or or Instagram them, but you will find them.
Yeah.
And if you don't, that should be a red flag. And then do your due diligence just to make sure that they are who they are, and this is a valid company.
Right.
It could be a lot of money lost once you send a wire.
Yes. And you'll know once you send the wire, the bank even tells you, are you sure this is what you want to send? Because that's it. Once you press submit, there is no going back. There is no returning. There is no saying, oh, just kidding, I need to cancel. So it
Yep.
is so very important.
And the same thing happens through Zelle. You don't. No one's going to ask you through a Zelle transaction.
No one.
Real
And
estate.
no
I
title
haven't seen.
company, no title company should ever ask you to transmit any kind of funds via Zelle. They should always be either through a check, or more commonly used would be the wire, because it's the most secure. And something that, and this was going to be my fifth point, but now that we're talking about wire transfers, wire fraud is very big. The wire fraud is very big, and a huge way that wire fraud exists in our world of real estate is through fake wiring instructions, right? So typically the way that a transaction will work is you're the buyer, you'll get into contract, you'll sign your contract. Now, Dolly, as your realtor, will send me the contract and say, hey, here's the valid, executed contract. The deposit's due in 3 days. Please communicate with the buyer for the deposit. And there have been companies that, have gotten intercepted in that email, and they send their wiring instructions instead of sending the true wiring instructions would be coming from VPP Law Firm. And it looks so similar, right? Because emails can look similar. Instead of it saying vpplawfirm.com, it'll say vpplaw.com. And it'll just miss that firm. And sometimes people don't catch that. And you'll be sending a wire to a company that is not the title company, and it's very important. And one of the reasons why when I send wiring instructions, the last 4 digits of my bank account will always be missing. We'll always have a star. Why? Because that requires my clients to pick up the phone and call us to verify, hey, these are your instructions, right? This is your account number. And we do that so that, let's say for whatever reason, there was kind of some interception there and they got 2 wiring instructions. They know, like, wait a second, I'm missing the last 4 digits. I'm going to have to call this company to verify what the last 4 digits of their account is. So that's a huge reason why we practice it in that manner.
And that's good. But also we need to keep in mind that a lot of people from all over the US and outside the US does watch our videos. So obviously, VPP Law Firm only works in Florida, and soon they'll be working in Kentucky.
We're working. We're almost there. We're almost there.
So, but if you are in Texas or any other part of the US, one of the suggestions I will give you, whenever you receive those wiring instructions and the full account number, it's there, and that happens often,
right?
Call them, but do not call the phone number on the email. Do not call the phone number on the letter. Google them, whatever phone number it's in Google, you can call them and verify.
Yep.
Hey, I received this email. I want to make sure that this is a correct account numbers and routing number. Just do your due diligence.
Yeah.
I normally suggest all my clients to call the title company first, just to verify, because those emails can be intersected.
Yeah. So, and if for whatever reason you don't have time to Google or you can't Google, the contract has our contact information. The contract on the very first page is going to have my email address. It's going to have my phone number. It's going to have our office number. You could immediately just look at your contract, pick up the phone, and call us using that information. It's going to be the right information 100% of the time.
Yep, that in Florida, normally realtors we use the as is contract.
Yes.
And even if we don't, but the contract that we use normally has the closing company's attorney's information. So you can definitely call them. And the one last thing that we want to mention, and we actually spoke about it briefly before getting onto the call, is that after closing.
Oh, yes.
What happens after closing?
So after closing is also a very, very important time, because you think, okay, I'm done, right? We're done. I got the house. I'm great. But then you receive an email or a phone call or a text message from someone portraying to be a VPP Law Firm or someone portraying to be part of the transaction, saying that you need money or I need money or you need to transfer me this or this wasn't paid for. That will never, ever, 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 ever happen. That will never, ever happen. I guarantee you that will never happen. All the money that needs to be transferred will be done either before or at closing. Nothing will ever be asked of you afterwards. So,
and in the event, and this could happen a couple of times, but in the event that the closing company didn't collect enough money for
that could happen for recording. Yeah, it happens.
But if it does, they will call you themselves.
Yes.
It's not an email necessarily. It's always a phone call.
Always.
Someone that you have already spoken to, someone that you already feel familiar with. But all of these letters that you receive in the mail, do not pay an extra dime.
No.
So, alrighty. Valerie, thank you so much for this information. How can they contact you? I know your phone number is right there, but...
Yes, our phone number is right there. Please feel free to call us. We're open Monday through Friday from 9 to 5. You can also text us using that number. That's 305-549-8280. If you need to text us, you can text us using that number and we will get back to you as soon as we can.
Awesome. Thank you, Valerie. Thank you, guys. I'll see you guys next week.
Bye, everyone.